My name's Ste Cork, official title expert software engineer. I work on tools and I'm the go-to guy for obscure localization issues in foreign languages. I'm from Blackburn, Lancashire in the northwest of England. Technically it was the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution where all the weaving equipment and loom stuff started off, and it has a brief mention in a Beatles song, A Day in the Life, 4,000 holes. When they drove through Blackburn they were amazed by how bad the roads were. That's it. Nobody goes there unless you live there. It's obscure. 25 years last week. I work for about a dozen companies in the UK and one in Switzerland. They were all ones that they'd last for a year or two and then collapse, usually with wages owed. And I wanted some stability. America and Japan were the ones that seemed to have the big software companies. So I don't speak Japanese, so I thought, right, let's go to America. The recruiter said, "You interested anywhere in particular?" And I'm like, no. I said, just start at the East Coast and work across for interviews. Raven was the first one that he set me up with. When I arrived here, despite Madison being a really green, nice city and everything, a taxi driver managed to take me by a really weird route that made the whole place look like concrete strip malls and stuff, and I thought, this place looks rubbish. So I wasn't interested in having the job, so I was really casual at the interview, but that must have come across as very self-confident. And like the day I got back home again, they offered me the job, and I thought, yeah, it'll do as a starting point. But 25 years later, I'm still here. So I have a large to-do list of things on various tools that either people aren't happy with, or they break, or new features that they want, things like that. And nicely, I get to pick and choose between them. Occasionally higher priority things will come in, like somebody will say, "Hey, why is this text coming out backwards in Arabic? We need this fixed quickly," you know, and nobody else can figure it, and then they'll come to me over at gaming and movies. For gaming, I rather like Cyberpunk 2077, and there's a factory game called Tectonica I'm quite into as well. Movies, well, sci-fi, obviously, like most people in this industry. Plus, I really like watching old black and white World War II documentaries. Plus, I have a kind of bizarre interest in tanks, as in fighting vehicles. I've done a lot of editing on the tanksencyclopedia.com, and I'm mentioned in the special thanks in several books for proofreading stuff that I've done for people as well. I use the handle Dalroy, D-A-L-R-O-I. It's the protagonist from the book The Dark Mind, or Transfinite Man as it's known in the US by Colin Capp. Very obscure. I just like the story, I like the character, and usefully, whenever I get on some new gaming service, you know, when it just first comes out, nobody else has taken that handle because nobody else knows it. I actually really enjoyed working on Fabricate, which is a technology that we don't use anymore. But that was back in the day when it used the spare idle cycles of everybody's machine in the building to build all our assets, and everybody played stuff off a communal shared folder. So we could rebuild the entire asset set over lunchtime rather than these sort of multi-hour builds that we have now. So currently my favourite thing to work on is StringEd, which is the Activision-wide sort of editing, validating, publishing function tool for all the localization, different languages. So back in the day, before I was more or less exclusively on tools, I just did whatever odd tasks came my way, and that would include things like the dynamic music system in our Star Wars and Star Trek games, the George Lucas style special screen fades and wipes, the helicopter attack gunship stuff in Soldier of Fortune, things like that. And then eventually I just ended up on tools after that. I would just like to point out that I have extremely poor facial memory. I mean, if ever I was called on to be a witness for, you know, some robbery event or something, I'd be useless. But within the Raven context, it means that I can, you know, talk with somebody for quite a while, get to know them or something, and then if I look straight through you at another time walking through the corridor, or if I meet on State Street, I'm not being rude, I just don't remember names or faces very well at all. There are people who've been at Raven 15, maybe 20 years, a long time. I have to work closely with somebody before I can register their face properly. Sorry.